Think about this. You open your eyes in the morning, go to work, put in 8 hours, come home, go to sleep, same thing the next day, same thing the day after that. At the end of this cycle, the money that lands in your hands, is it just a piece of paper? Or is it hours cut away from your life, hours you'll never get back? My beautiful friends, I'm Kent. For years, I worked in the software world, turning other people's dreams into reality. Until one day, I asked myself a question. What about my own future? Since that day, I've been trying to translate the financial world into a language anyone can understand. Today, I want to talk to you about something school never taught us, but perhaps if it had, it would have changed our lives completely. The real price of money. Or more precisely, the real price of your time. Because you give your time to earn money, and time is the only thing that can never be deposited into any bank account. Let's start with this question. How many hours of your life is every $1,000 worth to you? It sounds simple, but I'd argue the number of people who've actually taken this question seriously and done the math is extraordinarily small, and once you do this calculation, you'll never be able to look at your spending habits the same way again. I promise you that. First, let's talk about what life energy actually is. This concept was most clearly laid out in the book Your Money or Your Life by Vicky, Robin, and Joe Dominguez. The core idea is this. You give your time to work. Time is life itself. Therefore, money is essentially transformed life energy. In other words, the banknotes sitting in your wallet are the materialized form of the hours you left behind. Those mornings on the way to work, those afternoons rubbing your eyes in front of a screen, those Monday feelings after working through a weekend. All of it is hidden inside that paper. Now, when you look at things through this lens, buying something isn't just paying money. It's trading a slice of your life for that product. And this perspective changes everything. Now, let's do the real math. Most people think they already know their hourly wage, but they don't, because they're calculating it wrong. Let's say your monthly net salary is $3,000. You work 45 hours a week. There are roughly 4.3 weeks in a month. That comes out to about 193 hours a month. $3,000 divided by 193 looks like around $15.50 an hour. Sounds fine. But wait a minute. This calculation is incomplete because your job isn't limited to just the hours you spend at the office. How long is your daily commute? 45 minutes each way, an hour more. Just from commuting alone, you could be losing around 20 hours a month. Work-related thoughts, stress, the meeting weighing on your mind at dinner, that difficult project ruining your sleep. These cost your time too. What about indirect work expenses? The clothes you wear to the office, the coffee on the way in, lunch, transportation costs. When you subtract all of these from your salary, the net figure shrinks, and you're actually working for those expenses too. There's also this. Work is exhausting, and there's money you spend to recover from that exhaustion. Weekend movies, restaurants, online shopping. Some of that is genuine enjoyment, but some of it is just paying the bill for being tired. When you factor that in as well, your real hourly earnings come out far lower. To put it concretely, for someone earning $3,000 a month net, the true hourly value, once all these factors are accounted for, can drop to somewhere between $8 and $10 an hour. So what you thought was $15.50 is actually closer to $9. That's not a small gap. That gap should change the way you see your life. Now let's apply this calculation to your actual life. Let's say your real hourly earnings are $9, and you're thinking about buying a $1,000 phone. What are you actually doing? You're trading 111 hours of your life for that phone. 111 hours. Working 45 hours a week. That's roughly 2.5 weeks of labor. Nearly a month of your working life. Inside a single device. Now ask yourself this. Is this phone truly worth a month of my life's energy? Maybe yes. Maybe the productivity, connection, or happiness that phone brings you really is worth 111 hours. But had you ever thought about it this way before? Most likely not. Because what we were taught is to look at the price tag. not at the value of the hour. Let's apply this math to more everyday things too. Assuming your real hourly earnings are $9. A $35 restaurant dinner is about 4 hours of life energy. A $120 pair of sneakers is about 13 hours of life energy. A $800 sofa is about 89 hours of life energy. A $12,000 car is about 1,333 hours of life energy. These are no longer just numbers. These are slices cut from your life. Now I ask you, when you see these figures laid out this way, does something shift inside you? It should. But I need to say this too. This perspective isn't meant to make you give up everything. The goal isn't to be frugal. The goal is to be conscious, because some spending truly is worth it. A meal with the people you love, a course that develops you, a tool that makes you more productive, a mattress that gives you quality sleep. These can be investments that genuinely justify your life energy. The real point is being able to see the difference between spending that truly matches your life energy and spending driven purely by habit, social pressure, or an impulse of the moment. So how will you see that difference? I want to give you a few practical tools. The first one, calculate your own real hourly rate. Grab a piece of paper or open a notes app right now. Write down your monthly net income. Then account for your real working hours and call it out, including commute, work-related stress, and indirect work expenses. Subtract the extra money you spend because of work from your income. Divide the remaining figure by your actual working hours. What you have now is your real hourly value. Write this number somewhere, put it in your phone, because from this point on, you'll need this number before every spending decision. The second tool, express every purchase in hours. When you're shopping, mentally add this next to the price tag. How many hours does this cost? Did you pick something up for $30? If your hourly rate is $9, that's about 3 hours. Is it worth it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But at the very least, you'll ask the question. And that question makes an enormous difference. The third tool, apply the waiting test for big purchases. For anything over $50, wait at least 48 hours. During that time, ask yourself this: do I know how many hours of my life this item costs? And do I genuinely accept that? Most likely, after those 48 hours, a significant portion of those purchases disappear on their own, because fleeting desire looks much smaller when viewed through the life energy lens. Now I want to share a truth with you. It's not easy to say, but I need to say it. Most people spend the most productive 40 years of their lives roughly between ages 25 and 65 working 45 hours a week, 48 weeks a year. That's approximately 2,160 hours a year. Over 40 years, that's 86,400 hours. That is your total working lifespan. 86,400 hours. Now hold that number in your mind and think about this. How many of those hours did you spend on things you genuinely valued? How many did you waste running from one paycheck to the next purchase, from one purchase to the next paycheck? The answer to this question makes most people uncomfortable, but that discomfort is valuable, because without awareness, there is no change. This brings me to another concept I want to talk about: the financial independence point. This concept means the following. The moment your passive income from investments starts covering your living expenses, you're no longer giving your life energy out of necessity. You're giving it because you want to. In other words, working stops being an obligation. It becomes a choice. And how soon you reach that point depends largely on your answer to this question. How are you spending your life energy? How much of it are you directing toward things that create real value, and how much toward instant gratification? The math here is actually simple. As you reduce your spending, two things happen simultaneously. First, the money you save goes into investments and grows. Second, as your living expenses drop, the amount of passive income you need to reach that financial independence point also shrinks. So you're accumulating faster, and your target is getting closer at the same time. When these two effects work together, the results are striking. My beautiful friends, let me now share something very concrete with you. I want to tell you what kinds of changes in spending habits are observed among people who have embraced the life energy framework. These people no longer get excited when they see a discount, because a 30% discount doesn't change the fact that buying something still carries a life energy cost. These people no longer make decisions by looking at what others are buying, because you're spending your own life energy to buy the car your neighbor bought, not theirs. These people no longer use shopping as therapy, because instead of paying the bill for stress with your life energy, you focus on solving the source of the stress. These people now look at the things they own differently, because every object is the materialized form of hours once given, and those hours don't come back. So how will you embed this perspective into your daily life? I'm going to suggest a very simple 3-step system. Step 1, list all the spending you did this month, the necessary ones, rent, bills, food, and the non-essential ones, clothing, entertainment, eating out, subscriptions, impulse purchases. Step 2, divide each non-essential expense by your real hourly earnings. See how many hours of life energy each one cost you. Step 3, next to each expense, write this question. Did this purchase provide me with value, happiness, or freedom proportional to the hours I gave for it? If the answer is yes, don't feel regret. If the answer is no, use that information for next month. Doing this exercise even once can permanently shift your perspective, because the numbers stop being abstract. They become a concrete part of your life. I want to ask you a genuinely thought-provoking question right now. If you didn't have to work today, how would you spend your life? Take this question seriously. Really think about it. Many people can't even begin to think about this question because they've become so accustomed to living day to day, just waiting for the next paycheck, that imagining a life outside that cycle feels genuinely difficult. But knowing the real price of your time is the first step toward getting outside that cycle. Because without knowing what you're working for, you can't know what you need to change. I come from the software world, and I know this very well. If you want to change a system, you first have to understand it. Your financial life is also a system, and the most fundamental input of that system is your time. Without knowing the real price of your time, it's impossible to optimize that system. But once you know it, everything starts to become clear. You see which expenses are truly worth it. You understand which habits are keeping you in place. And most importantly, you can realistically see how far away the road to that financial independence point actually is. My beautiful friends, today I wanted to give you one single habit. Before buying something, ask yourself this: how many hours of my life is this item worth, and are those hours truly worth it? When you make this question a habit, your shopping lists will change, your budgets will change, and over time, your life will change. When you stop wasting the time you spend earning money, you start getting the real value of that time back. You buy fewer things, but you live more. You spend less, but you feel freer. And one day, you open your eyes in the morning and realize you're going to work not because you have to, but because you want to. That moment is the moment you become the true owner of your time. See you soon, my beautiful friends.